South Asia's first and only green university declared open.
COPE convenes once again. Various views expressed on the final report.
State Minister Sujiva Senasinghe responds to a statement made by Ajit P. Pereira.
VAT Amendment Bill debated in Parliament.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandro Ferdinando.
A very good evening. I'm Mahina Bongzo. We start off with a look at your top story for tonight. President Maithripala Sirisena declared open South Asia's first and only green university in Pitipana, Homagama today.
The NSBM Green University is one which can accommodate 30,000 students at any given time. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and several MPs and ministers were among those present for the event.
On one hand, while we are strengthening free education as per the state policy, we also need to create a young generation equipped with knowledge to bring about a better tomorrow. The most important weapon that needs to be strengthened in order to have a better tomorrow is education. When we meet the doctors and professors overseas, they speak good of the country and then they also speak on the negative. Recently, I met some professors overseas. One questioned me on the garbage issue in Colombo. She said that there is garbage all over Colombo. They only see the garbage of Colombo when they go overseas. I make an appeal to create a group equipped with knowledge who love the country to clean this nation.
The 64th anniversary of the Sri Lanka Press Association was held under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena at BMRCH in Colombo yesterday.
At the ceremony, senior journalists were awarded Lifetime Achievement Award 2016 by the President. A group of Indian journalists also graced the event.
When I see how certain media personnel attack me, there's something I want to ask them. They might be thinking that they have never had a president like me in the history to attack to this extent. I am pleased about that. It would have been far better if these sections of the media which attacked me today had the backbone to do the same before January 8, 2015. We all should recall the era where people were compelled to leave the country, where journalists were killed and their families were affected. So keeping all that in mind, I invite these people to attack me.
State Minister Sujiva Senasinghe, who is a member of COPE, attended a media briefing today. He responded to a statement made by Deputy Minister Ajit P. Pereira, who noted that his group in COPE had recommended that Arjun Aloysius must be dealt with under the Penal Code over the Treasury bond scam.
We have no right to speak on what happens within COPE. The persons who are making these statements have no understanding on COPE. Certain media institutions, including one that I know well, are continuously slinging mud at me as well. They say that this is being blocked. We are persons within COPE. Anyone can make inclusions in COPE. The recommendations are there. Everything was gathered and a draft was presented. Afterwards, we will look into what can be done legally and what is the situation. This is what the UMP MPs are doing.
What is the chairman's report?
There is no chairman's report. You need to understand this. The chairman is the one who will present the committee report. The chairman does not understand at times. It needs to be told to the chairman. I must say this. There is no one who has a need to protect Arjun Mahendran. We accepted that if a relative of the governor was present with regard to the bond issue, there was a conflict of interest at that moment.
Deputy Minister Ajit P. Pereira made public the recommendations made by COPE.
That is wrong. I ask him to act with responsibility. I understand the laws surrounding COPE. We cannot express those views. I am not making a statement. If another MP does so, it is wrong.
What is the stance of the party?
We have always mentioned the correct thing, that is to reveal the truth to the people. However, not everyone wants to know the truth.
According to the stance of the UNP, is the former governor of the central bank innocent or guilty over this issue?
I will mention that when the report is released, that is fair. COPE cannot make those recommendations. COPE is not another CID. COPE can make recommendations. I'm not aware whether Ajit P. Pereira made such a statement. He may have expressed a certain view. But let me say this, COPE is not another CID. We are engaged in fact-finding. Were there any losses or profits? Who were the officials who need to be held accountable? Those are what we look at. Thereafter, the task is with the CID, the FCID and the Bribery Commission. We need to gather evidence. We have no right to carry out any inquiry.
A debate arose in Parliament today over the details of COPE probing the Treasury bond scam being released to the media.
Although I say central bank, I must ask you this. You are picking this one incident and questioning on notional profits. When Nibad Cabral for 11 years carried out this without making public know of the private placements, how much of a loss would it have caused? What are you saying here? The Prime Minister will make a statement on this. There is something dangerous in that. You are making an issue of this through COPE. This is something internal. There is no need to make this spill out. Have you made any noise on the Greek bonds? Nothing. Are you making such noise on the newspaper? You are questioning in a manner where you are slinging mud at the government.
We continued to expose details on relationships held by Arjuna Aloysius, the son-in-law of Arjuna Mahendran, during the current government as well as during the previous government. The sister of Ajit Nivard Cabral, who served as governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka during the administration of Mahinda Rajapaksa, had served in a company owned by Arjuna Aloysius. Now, with the change in government, she exited the said position, and later the father of Arjuna Aloysius' wife, Arjun Mahendran, was appointed as the governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Though there were reports in the past citing that Perpetual Treasuries was not owned by Aloysius, we managed to prove that claim through documents. On the 9th of October 2013, the Central Bank issued a press release announcing the appointment of Perpetual Treasuries Limited as an authorized primary dealer. The address listed on this document is number 10, Alfred House Gardens, Colombo 3. The single shareholder of Perpetual Treasuries Limited is Perpetual Asset Management Private Limited. The listed address of the shareholder company is Level 3, number 10, Alfred House Gardens, Colombo 3. A document listing the directors and shareholders of a company named Perpetual Capital Private Limited states that the company was established on the 18th of February 2015. The shareholders of this organization are Jeffrey Joseph Aloysius and Arjun Joseph Aloysius. This clearly noted the true owners of the parent company of Perpetual Treasuries. On the discussion of the treasury bond scam in the country, the campaign to protect rogues is taking place in a fast-paced manner. The Sirsa media highlighted the connection Perpetual Treasuries had with the previous government and the current government. Attention must be focused on this matter as well. In February 2014, Perpetual Treasuries commences operations in the market as a primary dealer. Then the governor of the central bank was Cabral. The sister of Cabral was the chairman of Perpetual Capital. He followed the same procedure then as well. Then the father-in-law was appointed as the governor. In a span of 17 months, Perpetual generated 15,000 million rupees. They caused a 150 billion rupee loss to the nation. Doing so, they carried out such a fraud. The deal on the 27th of February is very clear. This is a loss which was caused because of the influence of the father-in-law and the son-in-law. The tie and coat-wearing gentlemen of the United National Party who are in COPE are not speaking on the losses that have been caused. They are preparing new reports. One cannot roam free in this country after committing theft. We will continue with the struggle until those who robbed public funds are taken before the law and the losses recovered.
MP Bimal Ratnayaka, who is a member of the Committee on Public Enterprise, was on the Newsline program today. Let's take a look at what he has to say.
MP Bimal Ratnayaka, you are a member of COPE.
COPE coming to a bioscope.
What made you say that the COPE committee is not serving its purpose?
No, it is not that the COPE committee isn't serving its purpose. COPE is now engaged in a very responsible task for the public. The UNP MPs involved in COPE has created another committee on this treasury bond scam that does not serve anyone. They are trying to name that particular committee as the COPE.
Who speaks the truth?
This has been approved by several MPs representing COPE.
How many?
11 persons from different political parties.
11 out of 26.
Yes, so far 11 out of 26. But the task that is being carried out is solely done by the UNP MPs. That does not make it a COPE working committee. A COPE committee has never in the history has released any reports based on a single political party. The country has incurred a loss exceeding 1,600 million rupees. The government did not conduct any investigations on that. So that is when the Prime Minister gives that responsibility to the COPE. So when that is being given to the COPE, the ones from the government are not letting the COPE perform its tasks.
Is there anything you could tell us about the content of this COPE report that is scheduled to be presented before the Parliament?
All what I can say to the public is that the report consists of the recommendations and conclusions as well as the punishments that need to be imposed on those accountable that we reached after conducting through investigations on the individuals who misused public funds. The COPE report on the treasury bond scam was widely discussed in the political sphere today as well. As a member of COPE, I must say that I have all the details. If this report is not presented to Parliament this week, I will reveal this to the public after this week. I am not bound by the regulations. The people will take a decision. This has become a court for them. Parliamentarians in COPE have no right to raise questions on behalf of one person. They must ask whether or not a loss was caused to the government. But they are not doing that. These MPs are questioning whether there will be justice or not for Arjun. As the government and as the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, we are of the view that if a loss has been incurred and if there are provisions in the law to reclaim it, it must be done according to the law of the country. There cannot be two truths. There can be only one. This truth is not being revealed. Everyone had understood that there was a treasury bond scam. Arjun Mahendran, who was involved in that, has been appointed as the Prime Minister's advisor.
Arjun Mahendran අගමැතික උපදේශකයෙක් කඩට පත් කරන් තියෙනවා. දැන් මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ මොන හරි අහනවා නම් අර හොරාගේ අම්මගෙන් පේන අහන්න වෙනවයි කියන කතාව තමයි කියන්න තියෙන්නේ. මේ හොරකමෙන් It
is said that all of them have banded together because they are given portions of this theft. Those who were involved in the struggle while in the opposition have joined in this. This is an organized attempt by the United National Party. This is a financial project of the United National Party. Is this a project to save their group in the parliament? This is an attempt to finance that project. They are engaged in a disgraceful attempt to prove wrong the Auditor General's report and protect the group of rogues. When COPE was investigating the coal scam, a similar group attempted to prove wrong the Auditor General's report and prove those involved in the scam as innocent persons. Unfortunately, UNP MPs are attempting to destroy the credibility of this process. This is an attempt to save the real accused involved in the treasury bond scam.
Horu horu kiyene me alirele kamba horu mahabenkuwe ali hore kam kerepu horu Yahapalene kiruaval mare maru.
In more local news, religious leaders were informed of the Gum at the 100 Days initiative as it neared its 100 days. The Gum at the 100 Days initiative is Sri Lanka's first ever public service initiative that provides solutions to the people's issues.
The Newsfirst team called on the chief prelate of the Malwata chapter, the most venerable Tibbatuawe Sri Sumangala Thero, and explained the progress on the completion of projects and the manner in which the people are benefited through these projects, which are done under the Gammatha 100-day initiative. Later, the Newsfirst team called on the Anunayaka of the Askiru chapter, most venerable Vedaruwe Upali Thero, and obtained his blessings. I believe that this endeavour should not come to an end from here. It should continue. From one side, the innocent public of this country is benefited, and from the other side, the generous of this country are created with a platform to aid these people. I believe it is a responsibility of the media to create awareness. We bless your team in undertaking such projects. The Chief Registrar of the Askiru chapter, the most venerable Dr. Madagama Dhammananda Thero, too gave his blessings to the Gammatha 100 Days initiative. Through this endeavour, this media institution has proved that it is not only about news reporting. There is more that could be done. When those serving in political positions launch many initiatives based on development and for the people with certain targets. However, when you look at the results of those, we understand that it is very low. It will be better if this initiative continues under a separate name. The issues of the people that go unnoticed by the politicians can be solved. Meanwhile, the Auxiliary Bishop of Colombo, His Lordship Most Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Fernando, too added his blessings to the Gammatha 100-day initiative. Now the people have asked you not to stop this and say that if not for you, there is no one to help them. Therefore, it is clear that although Cirrus is a media institution, now it has turned out to be a social service institution. We are thankful to God Almighty for showering His blessings to undertake the Gammatha 100-day initiative. Meanwhile, the All Ceylon Jamiatul Ulma added blessings to the Gammatha 100-day initiative. We all must come together to support this initiative and work towards it. We call on all Muslims to join with this. May the Almighty Allah bless us. Meanwhile, another two projects were vested in the public under the Gammatha 100-day initiative today. A milk collection centre was established at the Egorapitiya area in Thabova, Putlam today. In addition, the Egorapitiya Community Hall was also vested in the public today. The Sri Lanka Export Credit Insurance Corporation financially supported this project. The dreams of the people in Alutwava, Thanamalvilla became a reality today when the Gammatha 100 Days initiative was able to provide clean drinking water to them. The water purification system was established with the assistance of the Presidential Task Force on Prevention of Chronic Kidney Disease and the Sri Lanka Navy.
The Gammatha 100-Day Initiative. With the people, for the people.
Welcome back. You're watching Primetime News live on News First. Up next is Action TV.
Today, the acting general manager of the Lanka Putra Development Bank notified that a consensus will be reached regarding a complaint lodged by the former chief legal officer of the bank with the Labour Commissioner. This occurred when the complaint was taken up for consideration before the Assistant Labour Commissioner of Polonnaruwa today. The complaint was filed by the former chief legal officer charging that the chairman of the Lanka Putra Development Bank had on the 4th of October last year had acted outside his scope as chairman and removed the former chief legal officer from the senior management and transferred him to the Polonnaruwa branch to work under an officer who was lower in rank, thereby rendering him, the complainant, redundant. It was confirmed at the hearing held today that the former chief legal officer of the Lanka Putra Development Bank had been transferred and appointed to a position that is lower in rank without any valid reason. Those who created the backdrop for the former chairman Lasantha Gunawardena of the bank to reach such a decision without any valid reason was in fact an inquiry committee consisting of 3 lawyers. This committee was incidentally appointed by former chairman Lasantha Gunawardena to review an audit conducted by an internationally certified audit firm into the operations of the Lanka Putra Development Bank during the previous government. It must be noted that the 3 lawyers in the committee who were appointed to conduct the review are not professional auditors. The committee consisting of the 3 lawyers had recommended that the chief legal officer of the bank be transferred, although the audit report by the internationally certified audit firm did not mention any inquiry, recommendations or conclusions regarding the legal department of the Lanka Putra Development Bank. One of the lawyers in this committee that conducted a review of the audit report of the Lanka Development Bank was also part of the initial committee appointed by the Prime Minister to inquire into the central bank bond scam. The lawyer who was in both committees is Gamini Pitipana, with the chairman of the Lanka Development Bank acting on the recommendations of the committee consisting of Gamini Pitipana had transferred the chief legal officer of the bank to the Polonnaruwa branch and in turn appointed Gamini Pitipana to the position that was subsequently left vacant in the legal department of the bank. The chairman does not seek permission from the Minister of Public Enterprises Development but from the Minister of Finance. After being granted approval, Gamini Pitipana, who receives a monthly payment of 140,000 rupees for serving as a legal consultant / company secretary to the bank, introduced his vehicle service to the bank and generates another revenue. On Monday, he steps down from the position after several persons made complaints not only to the police but also made complaints to the Minister of Women's and Children's Affairs on certain incidents. More details of these matters tomorrow on Action TV.
Welcome back. Still in local news, police investigations have begun on the death of a youth in a house in Holkandara, which is said to be owned by parliamentarian Vimal Weerawansa. Thalangama police said that the deceased was a 24-year-old male victim. The police further noted that the wife of Vimal Weerawansa had said that the body of the boy who was asleep was found cold at the residence and that thereon was rushed to the Jayawardhanapura hospital. In addition, statements were recorded from the wife of Vimal Weerawansa and relatives of the deceased youth by the Thalangama police this evening.
The Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill passed in Parliament following a debate with 112 votes in favour and 46 against this evening. 65 MPs were absent during the time of the vote. The Tamil National Alliance abstained from voting. Still on local news, the regional workshop on trade-led development in the multilateral trading system commenced in Colombo today.
The event was graced by a distinguished gathering including the Director General of Commerce, Sonali Vijayaratne, Chief of Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, Dr. Mia Mikic, and the Minister of Industry and Commerce, Vishal Pathiuddin.
As per the WTO report on World Trade 2016 report, this year is expected to mark the slowest global GDP growth since the financial crisis of 2009. The previous higher global GDP growth forecast for this year at 2.8% has also been revised down to 1.7%. The situation in China and Japan are also not exceptional. We see the demand for our products in those markets seeing a downward trend or are subject to price decline. Being a small and vulnerable economy and a net food importing developing country, Sri Lanka is faced with special circumstances that call for special needs and flexibilities within the system.
According to the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business report for 2017, Sri Lanka has slipped to the 110th position from the current 109th rank. The World Bank said progress made in reforms related to starting a business and protecting minority investors were not enough to stop a decline in Sri Lanka's overall ranking. However, Sri Lanka has implemented the highest number of doing business reforms in the region, followed by India.
Trail, a walk against cancer, completed its 21st day of the walk from Goldface Green to Moratua. The campaign was initiated in an effort to bring together communities across Sri Lanka and collectively drive the nation's fight against cancer.
Today's leg began with breakfast and stretching at the Goldface Green this morning, followed by a quick warm-up.
Exhale down, chest over.
You know, it's great to see that all of Sri Lanka support in this walk. I think everyone's come together to ensure that patients suffering with cancer get much better care than they do now.
If you can, please donate 100 rupees at least. Yeah, if every Sri Lankan donates 100 rupees, we'll get to our target pretty fast.
The walk, which takes place over 28 days, spans 670 kilometers along the length of the country. The walk, which comes to a close on the 2nd of November, aims to raise $5 million to establish a new cancer treatment facility at the Karapitiya Teaching Hospital in Galle.
And with that, we wrap up Primetime News. For the News First team, I'm Sandra Ferdinando.
And I'm Mahina Bongso. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.